Hello and welcome this week with the next episode of New Tech Vintage Nerds. I'm AJ.
I'm Alex.
Today we're going to talk about home automation. How did we get here?
Woohoo!
Yeah. Well, in one of the previous episodes, we talked about that you are a Homey user. I'm a Home Assistant user. And it's been quite a journey that we're right here, right now, with the solutions we chose. But I was wondering, what did start you in the whole home automation journey? I
Oh,
mean,
well, that was long time ago.
when you were a little Alex.
Well, no, not that little. Well, smaller than now. Anyway, it was with an application, well, with a little box. I'm not sure if they have that abroad. It's called, in Dutch, it's called Klik Aan Klik Uit. Anyway, this thing just had a couple of switches which you plugged into a power outlet and then plug your lamp in, and then you had a remote and you could switch on and off. That
Yeah.
was it. And that made a lot of fun.
Yeah, I had something similar, but I started with, I believe it was called X10. It's a power line switching method.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's
Well, I
it's
lived in a house where the power cabling was made by someone who usually designs violins
wow.
or something. At least, well, he was very creative. Let's put it like that. And because he was very creative, Powerline did not work at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. I could plug in two Powerline connectors, so the receivers next to each other in two power plugs. I don't know, a meter apart, and they wouldn't work.
Oh wow. No, I had the fortune that I was living in a pretty modern house, 1970s. So that was going well. I could switch on and off my lights with actually with one of my first Macs, I believe, with a Mac Mini. It it
All
it,
right.
it used to have Indigo as an automation software. I believe it still exists.
It does, yes.
Yeah, so I could turn on the lights and my receiver by power, obviously. And I started using a display like an iPad on the wall. One of the first iPads, or actually, it might have been an other tablet kind of thing, but man, it's way back.
The funny thing about this Klik Aan Klik Uit system was that it was using 433 megahertz.
Yeah,
And one of the wonderful things of that little ecosystem was that half of the time it wouldn't work. So you'd push the button and nothing would happen.
yeah, and it
Or
didn't
it would
give any
just turn
feedback,
off
right?
and never on.
Yeah, and it didn't give any feedback, right?
Nothing at all, no. And it had no security whatsoever. So I was experimenting with a signal scanner at some point in time.
Yeah,
And you could just very easily see the switch on and switch off commands, and the difference was, I think, 1 bit or something. And this software actually had the capability of replaying what you saw on the screen. So I could just select something that I randomly plugged out of the sky and replay it, and suddenly a light would come on. Okay, what the f? Or this is not very secure.
yeah.
Anyone who lives nearby me can turn on and off my lights with a very small USB device like that. I don't think so.
Yeah, why did you do it? Like, I was, and still am lazy. Like I said in one of my Instagram posts, I'm lazy. So for me, it's everything that's going to go automatic, and I don't have to push a button. I really like it. Well, why did you get started with that whole automation stuff?
My dad always said only lazy people can be economical. Um, That's true. It's true.
Yeah,
It was out of interest. It was something that had to do with technology and convenience, and that immediately sparked my interest. Although, especially in the beginning, it was not convenient at all because half of the time either it wouldn't work or stuff wouldn't fit together. Well,
Yeah.
stuff would not ever work together, right? The 433 megahertz system would not work with the 866, would not work with, I don't know. It never was able to cooperate with each other. So you
Yeah.
always ended up with some niche solution in the left corner of your house and some other niche solution in the right corner of your house. And then you had another niche solution if you had an outside temperature gauge. And you had, I don't know, at some point in time, I had four, five, six different solutions, and they all had apps on my phone, and they all never worked together, and they never, some even never worked at all. And then it was just frustrating. So I stopped in having an interest in it for a while, because it was just frustrating. One of the things I can't stand is if stuff works one moment and doesn't work the next, and then
Yeah.
works a moment after. You know, I hate that. It either works or it doesn't. I understand that, but
Yeah. Then it's
flakiness,
obvious really what the problem is.
that's my alarm lights go off then.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. No, it's pretty annoying that when it works or it doesn't work, and then again it starts working again. What did I do? What has changed? Is it me? Is it just the protocol? It's
and
annoying.
and you can't figure out why it suddenly doesn't or does work. That
Yeah.
is ah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
after the Klik Aan Klik Uit 433 megahertz thingy, so I stopped having interest for a while, and then I saw something that was called Home Wizard,
Oh yeah.
which was a box not unlike the thing I have today, that actually, well, it promised to bring all the home automation stuff together in one solution, and then you could schedule stuff that would automatically turn off and on and yada yada.
Yeah.
And that actually, yeah, it's a pity that they do not sell that box anymore because that actually worked pretty well.
Yeah. The Home Wizard 2000 or something like that, I think.
I can't remember. It's too long ago, but it had a plug-in for my power meter. It had a plug-in for I can't remember. It had plugins for all kinds of stuff. It worked with the 433 megahertz. I could schedule stuff. Um, it was amazing. But for that time, I think this is early 2000s. It was amazing, and it worked like a charm. And that actually sparked my interest in doing home automation because that did what I wanted it to do. I could schedule some stuff based on a couple of very easy triggers. It gets dark, turn on the light, and that tend to work actually most of the time.
Yeah.
And that's where I actually got the interest. Okay, this can be very cool if it works and if it does what you want it to do at the time you wanted to do it. That is so convenient.
Yeah.
And also, and that was the main reason back in the day why I looked at home automation. There were a lot of break-ins in the area where I lived. And the reason why I looked at this is because I didn't want to spend the money on a full blown alarm system with sensors and people running around your house because some alarm went off or a police calling you, "Are you okay, sir?" And then it will cost you $50.
Yeah.
That is no. I didn't want that. I just wanted to get a notification on my phone. Have you left open a window? Or I saw a documentary on TV that I think 90% of the reports of those home automation systems are fake or false.
Yeah.
Why would you even spend money on that? That it's insane. So I thought, when I can do that for myself in my own home with my own phone. I get notifications if they're false positive. Okay, well then I picked up my phone for nothing. That's all.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't result in some idiotic bill or people who bounce on my door, or I don't know. So that was also a reason to look into it. And back in the day, I actually had these 433 megahertz sensors on my doors and windows, and that well sort of worked. Like with everything, 433 megahertz. Sometimes it works, sometimes it wasn't.
Yeah, and everybody uses it, so it's pretty crowded in there.
It's pretty crowded. It's pretty noisy. Not a very great solution.
Yeah.
But that's when I really started to take an interest, and when it really took off. Mainly because, well, first of all, with Home Wizard, a lot of it worked,
Yeah.
actually worked, also based on, for instance, weather characteristics. The wind is picking up. Should I don't know, give you a warning that you need to close the blinds or open the blinds or whatever.
Yeah, it's all about sensing something, if it's coming from internet or from a sensor, and with the actual action that follows that.
It was far from intelligent, though. I mean, it was good for that time and it could do a lot, but it also left a lot to be desired for.
Yeah, what was your greatest challenge with that system?
I think integrating the webcams, it didn't do that at all.
Okay, webcams. I didn't have any webcams then. I think I was too shy for that time.
I think I built a I built a ring doorbell before there actually was a ring doorbell. Maybe you can remember that.
Yeah,
I actually took apart a very cheap as Wi-Fi camera and glued it to to the window of my front door,
yeah, I
and
remember.
and it had actually had a trigger. When you pushed the wireless doorbell, it would also send a trigger to the Home Wizard to then take a picture with the Wi-Fi camera and then send that picture to my mobile phone.
Yeah,
Half of the time that didn't work, and the other half of the time the pictures were terrible. I positioned the camera wrong because you usually just saw chests and belly buttons, but never faces because the camera was too low and
yeah, yeah.
the lens on the camera wasn't wide enough, and it was terrible.
Yeah. But
But
it
the idea was
worked.
good.
Yeah, exactly. So we came from different backgrounds. I was using the Indigo system with all kinds of automation stuff. For me, it was more about lighting and making sure that um, it's comfortable in my house. That's one of my main design things. I do everything for the comfort. It My house has to follow me. Well, not physically, but it has to know what I want when I want it. So my lights follow me. If I wake up in the morning, the coffee machine is on. The curtains are up if it's bright outside. So what are your design criteria for your smart home from that moment from um, uh, a home wizard?
I don't say that I actually have design criteria. I've got design philosophy, though. If you have to push a button for it, your home automation has failed.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So it's not called home automation for nothing, right? If you can't automate the hell out of it, it fails.
Yeah,
If you have to push a virtual button, you might as well push a physical button.
was just going to say that if you have to push a virtual button, then something's wrong with you. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's you lost basically.
Yeah,
So I try to look at the way we live our lives and then anticipate on things that happen with automation flows. It generally works, but sometimes I'm totally missing the point.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, but like with a virtual button, you have to do an action. You have to control something like a light. Um, but how do you get your partner not to push that physical button and let your home automation do all that stuff? I mean,
I glue huge stickers to the button.
okay,
Seriously, specifically in places where my spouse used to switch on and off the lights physically. I actually glued an orange sticker with black text on it. Light
okay,
will switch automatically. Do not touch the button.
yeah, yeah. Oh, great, yeah, yeah.
I
I
think it's still in
replaced
the
the
toilet.
switches.
Uh, I started doing home automation in a rental apartment, so you
Oh yeah,
can't take out all the switches and stuff. So that
yeah,
doesn't work, right?
no,
Your landlord will hate you for it.
yeah,
And probably will make you put everything back the way it was when you do ever decide to leave.
yeah,
Fortunately, the home I live in right now is my own property, so I can do whatever the hell I like here.
yeah,
And I still haven't replaced switches though. All the physical switches are still there. I find it quite kind of silly to get them out because, well, there is an advantage to a physical button,
yeah.
but
Well,
generally the stuff is, I'd say, more or less designed around the limitations, and it works. Now that wouldn't be fair to say. It works well the way it's designed now, the way it's set up now. Can I do better? Probably. But overall, almost all walk-through areas like the landing, the hallway, the stairs, the utility room. The lighting is automatic, so you walk through, the light switches on, and after it doesn't detect any more motion. After, I don't know, a minute or so, additionally, it switches off the light again.
yeah,
That usually works well. We've got LED lights everywhere now, and it's, I think, fairly standard now. But I know my mom still has a couple of old-fashioned light bulbs.
yeah,
Um, and then at some point in time, it becomes a sport, right? To get as much stuff in there as you can. Like
yeah,
you said, the coffee machine. What's the bloody use of a coffee machine adding it to your home automation? Because, well, I don't know about you, but my coffee machine does not put a cup under it automatically. I have to
no,
do that myself. I
not
haven't
yet.
got a robot who does that
Yeah,
movement of taking down the cup from on top of the coffee machine, putting it under the tap.
yeah,
So you still have to walk over, put the cup under it, and then push the button. Um, the button press I could theoretically do automatically, but there's no use in it.
no,
Um, so you can actually overdo it, and that's fairly easy. I tend to look at home automation. It it has to have a use, otherwise I don't do it.
yeah,
It
yeah,
has to it has to fulfill some use, right? I've added my mowing robot to it, not because I want to schedule the mowing robot, because that thing has an automated scheduler based on weather, based on how fast my grass is growing. I don't know, that thing has some form of AI in it. That AI is cleverer than me. What I do want to know, and this is the reason I added it to the home automation, is when that thing has a problem, I want to know, because I'm not staring out of the window the 100% of the time looking at my robot. What the hell is it doing now?
yeah,
Right. So when it gets stuck, when it mows over its own wire, which it has done a couple of times, um, or I don't know, when it has some other error, I'd like to know. the software that comes with it isn't intelligent enough to send me a heads up when it drives outside of the wire, for instance.
Hmm.
It doesn't do that. Um, but it does detect an error message because I know I've seen the error in my home automation. So what
Yeah.
I did was actually fill the gap.
Yeah.
I scheduled a messaging in the home automation. If the mowing robot has an error, send me the message with the error. And now I get an heads up when the robot mower has a problem. It either is stuck or it's outside the wire or I don't know whatever problem it has. I get a pop up with Hank. That's what he's called. Hank has a problem,
Yeah.
and then the text states the problem, and that works wonderful.
Yeah. I think I look at my home automation the same way. Like it has to fulfill a need, or I can reduce friction or replace something. Li- actually, all our lights are turning on and off based on presence at a certain location in the house. Um, but also, if it's getting dark, it's automatically going on. You could say, well, put a sensor outside, and then you can just do that by the wire. But the whole point is that I can also connect my blinds to the same sensor, and I can do my automation based on um, if it's sunny, like our solar panels produce a certain amount of energy, um, and the wind is lower than set amount of speed, and it's warmer in my house than 21 centigrade. Um, then I can automatically put the blinds down, or the screens down outside. If it's um, um, if the wind is blowing harder than like 30 kilometers an hour, then instead of the screens, the internal blinds go down. So that's something that in the past I needed to go to. Well, actually, my wife had to go to the blinds and turn them uh, down. Now it's automatically. Now it's based on sensor input and actions based on that. And like you said, with the coffee machine, it's not that useful. On the other hand, I have an automation based on the power consumption of my dishwasher. If my dishwasher is ready, I can see that in my home automation system, and I can put an alert on that if there's somewhere else in the house the dishwasher is ready. Or, for example, I could start some other electricity hogging machine after the dishwasher has complete. And those kind of things are not possible. Yeah, they are possible. I have to walk to it. I have to push a button, and it's not that's not smart. That's not a smart home.
My spouse tends to forget that she put in a laundry in the machine.
Hmm.
So our laundry machine now has a smart plug attached to it,
Oh yeah,
and after the home automation detects that the power usage is back to zero, it sends a push message to my wife's phone. I think the laundry's done.
I see we have a lot of same issues.
which oh, the funny thing is it works, right? Well, the push notification obviously works, but the reminder works as well because ever since we have that workflow installed, um, she hasn't forgotten it anymore,
Yeah,
right? So, and that is the essence, I think, of home automation is that it adds that value to your life.
yeah, yeah, and I think it's also good to trim down the fat of your home automation system when when you first start with it, you put in all the sensors and you want to automate everything, like said coffee machine. Well, you still have to put a cap under it. But it's in there. It's getting information into the smart home. Then you want to use it. You want to see it. You want to put it on your home dashboard. And from time to time, I think this is not useful. I strip it out of my Home Assistant layer. Like the display we have right now is pretty easy, pretty simple. It's only for the exceptions on the rules that are in place in the smart home.
Yeah.
We can put or actually, I did for every automation, I put in an override button. So, for example, we have two cats. They come into the bedroom in the morning, and we do have automatic lighting in the bedroom. So if the cats come in, lights go out, go on. Well, that's not funny early in the
Everyone's
morning.
awake.
Yeah. So I put in a button that's an override. If I open the door of the bedroom, I can put I can click on the button. There's a cat in the room. I could actually automate that based on this RFID tag. Um, but when I push the button,
New
the light,
incentives.
yeah, the light doesn't respond anymore to that specific sensor.
Actually, I saw a wonderful gadget for you on one of the reports of CES 2024.
Uh oh.
It was a cat flap with a camera attached to it with artificial intelligence, which detects if the cat has something in its beak, it will not open.
Ah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah. I like that. Oh shoot.
Sorry.
Uh, well, actually, that was one of the things I wanted to ask you about. I know my budget for home automation and smart home is uh, pretty big, or at least I tell my wife that my budget is small, but a lot of new things get introduced. How do you manage your budget around these kind of things?
It actually isn't that bad. The purchasing the at home Homey itself was the largest investment.
Hmm,
And yeah, well, obviously, if you have 20 sensors and they all cost 20, yeah, then it adds up, right?
yeah,
And it does. Initially, I bought a lot of stuff on AliExpress, so it wasn't that expensive. I think I bought the initial door and window sensors. I think they were about 15 euros a piece or something like that, and they were Z-Wave Plus, so they were pretty good.
yeah,
And they're still on there, so I'm very happy with them. Um, some are more expensive than others. Um,
yeah,
I've got a couple of Philips Hues. They tend to be very expensive.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. I'm a bit on the fence when it comes to investing in it. Some stuff it has to have a use, right? I mean, the latest investments I did were just simple and plain socket switches, right?
Oh
The
yeah,
the the, the plug switches, and I think I bought Fabaros because I've got the best experiences with those. They don't break that easily. I had a Neo Cool Cam actually burn out.
ooh,
Yeah, that wasn't great. It also left a very ugly stain on the wall plug and the wall. But I think the Fibaros never have done that.
yeah,
Unfortunately, I mean they are about 50 or 60 euros a piece, so that will definitely be noticeable
yeah, 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 yeah.
in your budget if you buy I don't know 3 or 4 of them. Um, the last stuff I actually bought for home automation is all the do-it-yourself WLED stuff, and that
Okay.
doesn't cost a whole lot of money. So
No, that's correct. Yeah. No,
it's the funny thing is that bottom line, Yes, you can spend an enormous amount of money on home automation.
Hmm.
Then again, it can be very cheap as well.
Yeah.
Well, one
Uh,
ESP32, a power plug, and a LED strip, €40
yeah.
altogether.
Yeah, something like that. It's
It's,
at least cheaper than the U versions.
oh,
Um,
most definitely, yes, and well, they are brighter, they are more color accurate, and it's
yeah.
fun putting them together as well.
Yeah.
But most of the stuff that I bought actually is stuff that I bought because I had some problem to solve. We have a dark corner, we have spotlights that we want to put somewhere. Um, and I made it a standard to buy the Philips U, excuse me, the Philips U stuff.
Yeah.
Just I feel like Paul Hewitt is going to chase me again because it just works, yeah. But it does.
Yeah. 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 I have the same. I have a couple of those LED strips. I've got the Philips Hue bulbs.
They're indestructible.
Yeah, indoor and outdoor.
I still have Gen ones. They still burn. I mean, they're not bright because the first generation was pretty crappy if you compare them to whatever we have right now. But they still work. They
Yeah.
still work as like a charm. Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing I did with them is not connect them to the U bridge, or at least I moved them to a other Zigbee stick because I don't like the whole idea of um, needing a cloud solution to be able to turn on my own freaking lights.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Hold on. So the funny thing is that, and this is also not unimportant with everything that is home automation. How do your partner, family, relatives that come over accept the fact that half your house is reacting to their presence?
Yeah. Well, you gotta do it good, or you don't have to do it.
Well, that's I think the number one rule. You do it properly or don't do it at all.
Yeah, that's why I replaced all my push buttons and dimmers that are in the wall. I replaced them by I don't recall the brand. I think it's Ecobee, but those are Zigbee specific. So you can still push the button if somebody comes in and say, "Well, I need some light," just push the button. But I'm still able to control it by an home automation system. So when we walk into the kitchen, the light automatically goes on because there's obviously a sensor that does the temperature and the lighting and motion. So why not turn it on?
So the funny thing I actually noticed is that, well, my spouse generally is not very interested in home automation. She accepts the fact that I do it, and
Yeah, I gotta close my door. It's my printer is making big noise.
all right, you can cut this out later.
So that was automatic. The cat opens the door and I close it again.
So she doesn't mind me doing home automation as a hobby. She's fine with that. We all have our hobbies. But what I noticed is that once an automation is in place, like automatic lights, or we have automatic radio in the house when we wake up in the morning at 7-ish, 8-ish, automatically the radio comes on in specific rooms, not in the bedroom, but for instance in the bathroom or in the living room, and it has the news and then traffic info and whatever. So while she in the morning is making her lunch to go and preparing her coffee, she gets latest news and the traffic info and whatever.
Yeah.
And that is very specifically aimed at where she will be in the house at what time. and there is a margin in there, but that's only interesting when you actually program it. Um, and the funny thing is that once that is in place, that's fine, and I tend to add a couple of jokes to it to make her laugh in the morning, um, or at least trigger some response.
Yeah.
And now when it's and that is a logical result of doing home automation, there are moments when it fails. And when it fails, you now tend to hear it.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So that is one of the things that, well, basically you can state that it has been accepted when you get complaints that some stuff isn't working anymore
Yeah.
that used to
Yeah.
be automatic before.
Yeah. I had the same a couple of weeks ago. My wife came in and said, "Well, can you charge um, the blinds turner? We have a little motor on the blinds. So why? Well, it's empty. Can you please charge it?" So I went with the charger to that room and I looked at the window. So, wife, there is no turner on that blind. Oh, do I have to manually close and open that? Yes. Not for long, though. So that
Yeah,
was
well,
funny.
stuff like that. If it works like that, and if people, specifically your significant other, notices that stuff isn't working anymore, I think then home automation has succeeded in the goal that you set out to do it with.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So in terms of security, obviously everything cloud is boo.
Yeah.
That is harder than it initially sounds.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If you got some, well, Tuya enabled device like a heater or a switch or a scale.
I haven't got a lot of. I've got two of them.
Yeah, I believe we got two heaters, one in the what we call the tea house outside patio heater, and one in my wife's office. Those are Tuya, but I don't like it. I mean, like I said with Philips Hue, why do I need a cloud service to turn on my own lights and heating? I
Yeah,
mean, come on.
fair point, isn't it?
Yeah.
And recently with Philips Hue actually making it mandatory to use their cloud service, I'm not very happy with that.
No, I
I
haven't.
haven't seen impact yet.
No, and I haven't seen anything if they are going through with it. So I saw the news article. I went, well, that's a bummer. I'm not gonna do that.
I haven't
So
seen
I
anything following it up though.
no, but then again, we might not see it because we do other things
I know
like
it does auto upgrade,
yeah.
but the
Uh, uh,
last time I looked at it, it still used the local connection. So I don't know.
yeah. Perhaps it keeps on working, but I don't like it.
So what I did do in terms of security and privacy considerations, and this is actually something I did fairly recently. I planned to do it much sooner, but I just didn't get around to it. Was actually segmenting by my local network into a couple of segments where one is specifically for IoT devices, and one actually is completely closed off of the internet. And for instance, all the security cameras I have, and I've got quite a few, are all in their own virtual LAN. They can't get out. You can't get in. There's only one way to look at them, and that is through the network video recorder. which has a foot in every network, or in both networks, in the camera network and in the home core network.
Yeah.
This is how you can watch the cameras, but you can't could directly connect to the camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it will be impossible to hack.
Yeah. Hear yourself. We're talking about a specific network for specific parts of your home automation, and
Yeah,
most of the
yeah.
people have a internet router with Wi-Fi, and they say, "Well, it's fine enough. It's everything on one single net."
Yeah, guilty as charged. So this is the professional IT guy and his home IT. It's not a data center in here, but there are some things that do resemble a data center.
Yeah. Look at
Um,
my blinking lights back there.
yeah,
Well, for all those listening, I have blinking lights behind me.
I do have a 19-inch rack in my garage, and yes, there are servers in there. They don't consume a lot of power. I got rid of those machines,
Yeah.
but still, it's part of a hobby that sort of got out of hand.
Yeah.
Um, then again, it's still cheaper than putting it all on the web. Um, what I was about to say about that is, it is, I think, for everyone who is going to go into home automation, even if you do just a little bit, be sure, make yourself acquainted with how to make it secure from the get go, because oh my god, everyone's after your information and they all
Yeah.
want to sell you something, or they all want to get on your money, get a grip on your money, or on your credit cards, or on your credit score if you're in the US, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So there is a lot of IT stuff out there, a lot of home automation stuff out there that is not secured, is not does not have your best interest at heart when it delivers the service you bought it for.
Yeah. Our security is a afterthought. Oh, we need to bolt something on because it needs to be secure. Then we can put it on the box that it's secured.
At least they thought about it, right?
Sorry.
I mean, there are these cameras you can buy on AliExpress. Um, I actually have one in a birdhouse out in the garden. That thing is in the no internet zone, and it will never get out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You do, you do not talk to the outside world, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine. They're a bit talky. They don't need to go on the internet.
And the fact that it has an app that connects to some strange URL on the internet and then actually can see my own camera. I saw that when I was configuring it, and hell no,
Yeah.
this is not how this is going to work.
Nope. Do not enter. So, what is one thing? I mean, we can talk about lots and lots about it, but what is one thing that you want to do in a near future in your smart home?
What I would like to do, and this is already available, but and yes, you with your home assistant can do that, and I can't yet. Anyway, is the
No
millimeter
shame in
wave?
switching. No shame in
No,
switching.
but I won't. Is the millimeter wave sensors?
Oh yeah,
Those things are amazing. I think Akara's got them. It's called, I think, MM01 or something like that.
yeah,
Um, they are not very expensive. They are very accurate in noticing and scanning movement and people in the room, but also not just in the room, but also where in the room. And with the sensor, you can basically map the room and just have the lights on where there are people,
yeah,
and have no lights on where there are no people. But when they get up and move over, for instance, from the living room to the kitchen, it will see that, and it can automatically follow you with the lights, turning on the lights.
Yeah. So in essence,
I,
going
I would
from
like to do that,
yeah, so
but it's
going from motion detection to presence detection.
exactly. And then presence detection without a failure rate, right?
Yeah.
Um, all the things that I tried in the past with Bluetooth and it all sucked. Uh, and this is actually working. The only downside is you have to again put new sensors up, and these sensors do not work on batteries because they are fairly power intensive. At least while they are right now.
I saw one
So
that had a battery from Akara, I believe.
So the MM01 has a USB cable attached to it, and that needs to go into a power plug, my friend.
Yeah, I know,
Otherwise,
I
it
know.
won't work. No batteries because that thing, first of all, runs on Wi-Fi. Second, the millimeter wave sensor is constantly on, so there is no way to power save.
Yeah. Well, when I
So that
find the
thing
link,
is a
I'm gonna put it in the show notes.
it's not consuming a lot of power, but it's consuming a constant amount of power, and that is obviously not very good for batteries.
Yeah.
So that is something I want to look into, and I want to look into more intelligent analysis of my cameras. I've got a Ubiquiti unified camera system, and it does do people detection and vehicle detection. But first of all, that's it. Second, it doesn't do that on all cameras. It only does that on the newer ones, and I also have a couple of old ones.
Yeah.
And it has no animal detection whatsoever. I have a couple of cameras in the back of my garden who are labeled Wildlife 01 and Wildlife 02, and we have a lot of fun with those because it's really nice to look at. You know, all the squirrels and hedgehogs and I don't know
Yeah.
whatever comes by. Um, but every time the wind moves a branch in the tree, they start recording. This is very annoying.
Yeah.
So I want to have some kind of artificial intelligence there, and hopefully I will be able to do that soon. Or I'm looking into Frigate
Yep.
to actually use for this, and a Coral TPU um, to do the AI part, or at least the object detection part. So those are the things that are in my near future. Further away, I have no idea. I'm currently involved in a beta test of a smart lock. Honestly, I have yet to detect the use of it.
Okay.
And I will not mention the brand, and I will not mention the problems that we've had because, well, that's first of all NDA, and second, doesn't add any value. But um, I noticed that in day to day life, having an automatic lock on your door is more of a nuisance than it is a service. Because every time you come to your door and you want to open it and you want to use the automatic lock, you have to take out your phone and you have to tap or push the button on the lock. But then what's the difference between pushing the button on the lock and turning the key?
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot of difference. So that is stuff I do not see in my future at all.
Yeah.
I don't see the use of it, and also I think hacking an analog lock, or specifically the ones I have, is a fairly big challenge. And these things have automatic signals and Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and every idiot with a frequency scanner basically can tune into them.
Yeah.
And if there is ever a vulnerability found, they can open your door, um, which they can't if you just have a physical lock.
Yep.
Doesn't mean that I will never look into them, but it may. Well, it's fairly improbable that I will look into it in the near future.
Yeah, yeah. Those are actually the two things I'm looking into. I also want to do a better detection. We have cats, like I said, and our cats trained us very good. When they are standing in front of a door, the camera goes on, and it shows automatically in the Apple TV, even though we have Unify video. Um, so we open the door when they are in front of the camera. Then they want to come in. But when a spider weaves a net before the camera, it also reacts, and I don't like that. Then you're
Yeah.
watching a movie, and then there's bling, bling, bling. Somebody wants in
Oh,
the
that would be
house.
annoying.
It is. So I push all my streams to Frigate, and I detect the if it's cat or something else. That's working already, but now I have to put it onto the Apple TV because the integration for Unify Video goes through um,
Homebridge, probably.
a Homebridge. Well, actually, a part of Home Assistant does the same functionality.
All right.
Um, but for a normal camera or a frigate camera, it doesn't do that. So I
Oh,
found
I haven't looked
something.
into that yet.
Yeah, it doesn't do that. It's hard to put a camera into a Home Assistant when there's not actually a camera. So I am creating a alerting mechanism that puts a image on your Apple TV when it thinks it's a camera. Somebody on the internet posted something very genius about it. You have a picture, that camera is that picture, and by moving that picture on and off, it shows on your Apple TV.
All right.
So I'm working on that, but it's not foolproof yet. Well, I'm the fool, but it's not foolproof yet. So and other things, I don't know. It actually is already pretty automated. So yeah, I want to automate more stuff in the kitchen, but that means new appliances. So that's probably not going to happen.
Well, if we would to buy a new washing machine, I would probably look at something that I could integrate.
Yeah, we
Although
did that.
I've noticed that they're fairly expensive, but and honestly, all the other features that you get with them are not really
No,
worth mentioning.
exactly. I
Um,
want to know when they're on or off, and that's about it.
yeah, maybe a timer how long it will be busy, so you can estimate can I go into the city or not, for instance, or can I go and do
Yeah,
groceries or whatever. But
yeah. I wouldn't
for now,
use.
and this is a problem with home automation. You notice that for a lot of companies, like the good old home appliances brands, they treat home automation as something exotic you have to pay a lot of money for,
Yeah,
which is basically a load of BS because it's just a cheap chip with some cheap software on it that just talks to whatever you already have in there. And right now I've solved it with a $35 power plug.
yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I mean, it can be very, very, very inexpensive, and that's the problem. I don't see why I have to pay, I don't know, €1,200 for a washing machine versus 600 for the same model, but without the smart assistant, which I'm not going to use anyway. Apart from the fact that it can tell me, yes, I'm washing, yes, I will be done in 30 minutes.
Yeah,
All the other stuff, I don't care.
no, exactly.
And I'm not sure about. I noticed on the CES 2024 that LG and Samsung had new smart home appliances. Specifically, Samsung's got this fridge, which will keep track of whatever's in there and will notify you if stuff is going bad, or I don't know how well that works.
Yeah, but at our home, most of the things don't have that long, and they're used before it might go over the date.
the thing is exactly that. How efficient is that? How useful is it? How often are you reminded about something that is actually going over date, or that is actually going bad, or I don't know. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't see that stuff is actually bad. It just assumes that based on the date that's on the packaging, that it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, I had a pepper lately that actually was bad, but was brand new from the grocery. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Um, I don't think that it is intelligent enough to do the actual job.
No, I don't think so.
But
Well,
well, we'll see about that.
yeah, exactly. Well,
And
with that,
one thing I want to add, though, one thing I
yeah,
want to add, and that is the best part of my home automation. It saved me a ton of money
how's that?
because of the presence tracking in the house. Actually, our home is using so little heat. It is comparable to a home about 25% of the size of our home, just
Okay.
because of the tracking that we do and the efficient heating that we do. I mean, we've got an insane power bill, but the heating is couldn't be more efficient, and that is something that I actually achieve with home automation. Is the very 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 selective heating of the house and the different rooms,
Yeah.
and the very little. Well, we're still using natural gas as a fuel for heating the home. Um, the bill for that has been very low. So there is an apart from the convenience, there is also that advantage to be had. You can actually save money if you do it properly in the winter as well as in the summer. Close the blinds in time, make sure to keep it cool in the house, or in the winter, be efficient with your heating. Only heat the rooms you're in, and turn off the heating when you're not there. Turn
Yeah.
off the heating in the evening or at night, etc., etc. And that this is where home automation can do wonders because, well, you tend to, well, at least I tend to forget to turn off the thermostat in the evening, but my home automation does not.
No, exactly. Well, we all had it already automated, so it's not an issue. But like you said, it saves a lot of money.
That definitely did save me, and I'm talking serious money. So this saved me hundreds of euros in a year,
Yeah.
and it
And
still
the
does that.
environment, obviously.
And it is why I mean it is a sustainability thing as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. With that, we're coming up to the hour, so
Oh,
perhaps we should end this one. Thanks for
all right.
listening. And if you have anything that you want to mention us, please let us know in the comments or mail us at the address at the website or on YouTube or Spotify.
Please subscribe.
And actually put in all the thumbs and push us to the top of the list with our already 3 episodes.
Woohoo!
Yeah. And we'll see you or hear you next time. Bye.
All right.